So before we get this podcast started, I wanted to go over with you guys Pattern Pack Ammo. This podcast is brought to you by Pattern Pack Ammo, our sponsor for us. You guys got to check them out, okay? Go to their website, check it out. You can create your own customizable pack of ammo from any brand, such as Heavy Shot, Migra, Federal, Boss, anything you want. You can go build that, customize it, go to their website. You can check it out. And if you want 28 gauge, if you want 12 gauge, if you want 20 gauge, whatever you want, go pick those out. And then you can pick the size of shot to save you tons of time on patterning and getting that right shell that's right for your gun and for your choke. Trust me, genius idea. I wish I would have thought it myself. Go check their website out. And if you decide to go through with it, which I think you will, put in the code MVM and you'll get 10% off. Today's episode is a special episode. This is the 100th episode of this podcast. It's kind of a little bit of a memorial spot, I would say. You know, I didn't know it'd be this many. And we have a guest on today that just turned 100. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel like it sometimes.
I sound like it right now the way I've been coughing forever. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, actually, Brother Teddy here looks younger than what he is, and he gets around pretty good too. I'd say he's almost keeping up with Travis at this point. No comment. Anyways, I'm kind of referring to a certain pond last year that your dad is. How old are you now?
I'm 70.
70. And last year he came out there about the same pace Travis did last year, or a couple of years ago. So I don't know. But we're doing better this year, aren't we? Do you feel better this year? We talked about exercising.
Jeez, I hunted Saturday with my son and my daughter, and I was the bird dog. So I was at the end of the blind, and I did all the retrieves.
And how did you feel?
Well,
compared
the next morning
prior.
I was sore, but I was more tired than sore. But I was a little sore, but not bad. I mean, and we were in a good pond too. It wasn't mucked up or had a nice solid bottom. Wasn't very deep. So.
I'm just saying, do you feel better than
than
you have last year? Yeah, I do too. I was telling somebody that, and I'm definitely not huffing and puffing nowhere near as bad. Like, it definitely paid off doing.
No, I mean, I even ran after a pintail that my daughter had knocked down. It wasn't going anywhere, and I actually shot it so it wouldn't go anywhere again because it was head up. I didn't feel like chasing him across the pond, but I don't know. I probably quick walk, ran 50 yards, and I felt fine.
Yeah.
Where the year before, I thought I was having a oxygen deprivation kill over.
Yeah. So that's cool because we talked about it, and now we're putting it in action that we feel a little bit better cardio, I guess, wise. What did you say? I do too. But so on this 100 episodes, I don't want to skip over anything. I want to say a few things. We thank you guys for your support. That's a landmark to me. I think that's pretty cool. And it seemed like all of a sudden we were at 10 episodes and now we're at 100. So we enjoyed doing them, and we're glad that you guys follow along too. The downloads show it, and it's growing all the time, still growing. And so we thank you guys for that. Because sometimes me and Travis have talked and said, I don't really know why people want to listen to us. But we're glad you do. And we hope that we're helping you guys. That's really the main thing. Something good, clean to listen to, and that we just have lots of memories. We could do one of these every day and talk about a different story we've had over the years. Just in duck hunting, not including life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But, so we've been Teddy is Travis's dad. You guys, if you do watch the channel, you've seen him in some of the videos. And we just want to kind of dive into your, kind of how you got into it and how, what your experiences have been, some of your stories, stuff like that. Kind of stuff. And it don't have to be just with Travis or whatever, but I mean, like I said, we were just looking at some pictures on the wall over here that you, me, and Talon made. We were almost to the point we didn't think we were going to get in and stuff. I don't know. Just wanted to kind of reminisce over some stuff like that. And what made you want to get into duck hunting? Because I know you hadn't done it until later on, right?
Right. Travis started out when he was a teenager, and I always wondered, why in the world would you get up early in the morning, go out in the freezing cold, wet and miserable, just to shoot a stupid duck? That was my attitude.
Literally.
Yes. And Travis started going, and he said, Dad, you want to go with me? So finally I decided to go with him, and I went with him as a non-shooter for, I don't know, a couple of years maybe.
Really? Wow.
Finally he said, Dad, if you're going to go, why don't you just bring your gun and shoot? So I decided to do that, and I've been hooked ever since. Now I know why you get up early in the morning and you go out there and sit in a cold, wet, miserable to shoot not a lousy duck, but probably the most fun as far as hunting I've ever had. I did a lot of big game hunting prior to that, and you would go and sit, never see anything, go for years, maybe not shoot anything at all. But when you go duck hunting, there's always a possibility of shooting a duck. The possibility is there. And I've enjoyed it. The camaraderie between my family, Travis, Talon, Colton, how's it all started, the four of us for several years, and then little by little, the others came. You came in, Josh came in, and now there's a whole group, and it's just that fellowship with your family and friends, being out there enjoying God's creation. There's nothing quite like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know I don't remember when you first started, what year it was. You probably look at your old license or something like that, duck stamps, and see. I do remember that you did go one time with Uncle Randy, and then one of his friends, a guy that we know a long time, Danny Posey. I think we went down on the Merced River, and we were looking for wood ducks. And I remember that specifically because I started duck hunting when I was 9. I liked it then, but you were kind of a stamp collector, and I remember you still have that stamp.
Right.
And that fascinated me, that stamp. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Artwork. I knew you've always been interested in artwork, wildlife artwork like myself. And I remember being captivated by that first duck stamp. And that was something I always remembered. And so yeah, but I don't remember specifically when you first started duck hunting, the first time you went or where we went. It had to be probably a Mendota refuge.
I think it was Mendota, yeah.
Because as a kid, that's the only refuge I hunted as a kid. I mean, I hunted there forever and never switched refuges. There were refuges that were closer, but I never switched up. And then, but I don't remember much of us killing birds at Mendota. I don't really remember that. My most epic memory was our first hunt at, and we won't say the refuge, just because it's kind of the refuge we go to. But which refuge I'm talking about,
right?
And it was our first time at this refuge, and yeah.
Well, Travis,
it was an experience.
Explain to us just real quick to put this in there. Someone had said something on the podcast. I think it was the YouTube side of it, that they're a little frustrated why we're being so secretive. Explain for people like that listening, that it's not just being some elitist,
I'm
secretive.
not trying to be secretive or anything like that.
Explain why, though.
Basically, like I said, I hunted Mendota for years and years and years and years. I hunted the same pond for years and years and years and years. And I think as and I didn't have anybody to go with me. I would go by myself. I was learning on my own. I'd take, young guys from the church I went to that, hey, you want to go duck hunting? Yeah, I'll go with you. A lot of them didn't shoot. Some of them shot. And nobody ever really got hooked until a little bit later, Mm-hmm. But, within regards to, not saying what refuge we're at, it's just one of those things, when you invest so much time and energy and you find these hunting spots, how precious those are, mm-hmm. and how quickly they can be gone, from being overcrowded, overran. And so I think it's just, what I tell anybody, and you appreciate it more, I think, when you learn on your own. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, yeah, go to this pond, go to this spot. Yeah, you'll kill birds. Well, guess what? we tell you that, and then your competition to where we're going. And I'm not trying to be, wrong or anything like that. Yeah, if somebody draws a good reservation at a refuge and nobody else knows going like, hey, yeah, maybe you should try this spot. I don't have a problem with that because if there's some places that are limited where you can draw, and pretty much if you look at the stats, you know what ponds are good. You know where to hunt. And so to me, it's just a thing of with young hunters, new hunters, put your time in. Do the work, and to me, you'll get more of a satisfaction and reward when that pays off for you. Scout, do the leg work. This is a sport where experiences help you grow. They make you a better person, I think. And we're not out there just to kill ducks. And I think that sometimes that's the mentality. Where can I go to kill ducks? And it's more to that to me. It's like there's places that I know where there's birds at. They're not always there, but I know where there's birds at. And I've done the work, and through my years of scouting and that the time that I put in, I know where to go. And that's something that I treasure, and I'm not just going to give it away to anybody.
Took years. To piggyback onto what you're saying, though, to answer the question that someone commented, is to add on to that at another level, us filming what we're doing. They're very close to when we hunt them. They could be within a week or two of when we hunted them last. And so we don't want to blow out these refuges for other people that go there all the time.
Yeah.
And say, oh, yeah, we're at this refuge and we
then
killed this.
100 more people show up at that refuge, and then the people that hunt there all the time and have put their time and effort in,
they're going to hate our guns.
They've blown out. And then that gives us a bad name, which is I don't want to do.
Exactly. And the thing is, that person said it right. They said, I just don't get it. You don't get it. And I'm not being rude or blunt to you. I'm just saying you don't get it. You don't understand how many people are influenced by it, see it, go off of it. There's guys that watch our channel that don't even like us, that just use it to see where we're hunting because they can recognize a lot of places and so they can go there and do good. Yeah.
Myself, this is me personally. I would help somebody from out of state quicker than I would help somebody that was in the state. The reason is I know somebody from out of state, they're coming here, they're maybe looking for a specific bird, maybe a cinnamon teal, a pintail, things like that. I'm more willing to share knowledge with that individual because they're not going to be competition for me. In one weekend, they're going to be gone. And you know what I'm saying? I want them to have a positive experience. Just like if I go out of state, it's nice. We've had people that have helped us like, hey, check this spot out. Well, because they know we're not going to burn that spot out.
But here's another thing to add on to that. I don't know if I'm peeking too much there. But here's another thing, Travis. We've helped so many people. You guys will never know that I've emailed, messaged Travis on all of us have helped. And I'm sorry to get sidetracked off
your
dad
cool.
here.
That's fine.
But real quick, a lot of people ask that question all the time. And here's a direct answer is also guys have messaged me and said, hey, we got number 2 at, on just Sacramento Refuge or whatever. I don't know. I don't know everything about everywhere.
No, I don't.
And I'll just say, okay, hey, what is it going to matter? They have it.
Yeah.
And I tell them, hey, you can look at the results of what it shot the week before there.
Yeah, that's a great indicator.
You know what I'm saying? Or I could say, oh, I've hunted this and did okay. It doesn't even matter at that point. Like you said, it's very rare to get drawn a reservation. So that's why it's sacred. Like,
yeah. I mean, just for a quick example, last weekend my daughter drew a reservation at a refuge that I've hunted before, but
that's
never
the
had
video that they said that on. Okay. Because you weren't telling them where it was at.
I never had a. Okay, this is what I'm talking last week. That was the weekend before. That was opener, but I never hunted there, and you've hunted it, other people hunted it, but I really didn't go off of that to choose the pond that I chose. I looked at the stats, what it started from the beginning of the refuge, because they posted it up there, what everybody shot. I'm like, okay, this looks like it's producing the most. Looked at the wind direction. The birds typically come out of one direction from the refuge, and that's what I made my choice on. And we did great. And you guys were saying, hey, why don't you choose this pond because we've shot great at that other pond too. But it worked out for us. I'm glad the choice I make. It was an easy, close walk, and we did really well. So I mean, I think it's something that if people get upset that we don't specifically point it out, that's fine, I guess. I wouldn't ask somebody that killed a 40-inch mule deer consistently every year, like, hey, what
can you show me on the topographical map where that's
the
at?
latitude and longitude
where
you're shooting these bucks? You know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't do it. And same thing with ducks. There's more ducks, than deer.
I think
but
honestly,
still.
I think most people understand it. I think it's just the
Yeah,
newer
there's-
people that don't understand that. They just
which is
they,
fine.
they just don't know.
There's a whole gauntlet of
It is,
You're
yeah,
gonna
it
meet
don't
all
matter.
types and everything. But getting back, my dad and I, you can kind of tell him, Dad, we went to this one refuge that we've hunted quite a bit, and it was an epic day. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened. You want to tell them about your experience with the insect life?
We were
Oh yes, let's hear that. That's a good story. Yes, let's hear it in detail.
we had hunted in the morning. Things got kind of slow, so I decided I'd go over on this little grassy area and lay down and take a nap.
And we shot some. And this. I'm gonna kind of jump here. Before that, we had never been to this refuge before. I'd never shot a Drake pintail, and I'm like, I gotta shoot a Drake pintail. I've been hunting for 15 years, by myself, and never killed a Drake pintail. As crazy as that sounds in California. And a good friend of ours told us, like, hey, check this refuge out. And he didn't tell us specifically where to go once again. But I got on Google Earth and looked at it. I'm like, okay, this looks like where I want to go. This pond right here. Well, we got there. This pond was jam packed with people. And we had, I don't even know if we had a reservation, but we kicked off on this little side pond. I mean,
No, we didn't have a reservation.
a little dinky pond. I mean, you wouldn't think nothing would happen there. And we had a Drake mallard come in, and we both pulled up at the same time, fired at the same time. And I'm like, I got it. He's like, I shot too. Well, I walk over there and pick it up, and it was one of the first birds we shot at that refuge, like the third bird, and it's a banded mallard. And so,
Right.
yeah, it was like, okay, this is cool. And so then we had hunted a little bit, it slowed down, and my dad decided to take a siesta.
So I was laying there, and I felt something crawling on me, and Travis said, Dad, you're laying right in a bed of red ants. Red ants were all over me. They were down in my waders.
Oh,
And it was warm. It was relatively warm.
It was fairly warm. So I went out. I was trying to get them off, and they were biting me all over the place.
And he swells up when he gets bit by red ants.
Yes. Finally, I just went over and laid down, waders and all laid down flat in the pond to try to get rid of them, and they were still biting me.
was it early season? I hope it was.
It was early season.
It was. I think it was an opener, wasn't
It
it?
was an opener.
It was an opener.
Yeah.
It was opening day. Yeah.
Opening day.
the lovely opener.
Yeah. And then Talon was with us, and I don't know how old Talon was at the time. And he was little. I mean, maybe 5 or 6.
Dad.
No, and we there was a pond that we moved to, and I mean the wind was whipping. The only one time I seen wind that bad, it was on that teal hunt where me, you, and Thomas and Talon and Talon were out there. But it was like, I mean, it looked like 2-foot waves on this pond. And did you kill a Drake pintail that day? I don't remember.
No, I didn't kill a Drake pintail that day.
I killed one, and it was my
Right.
first Drake pintail.
Right.
And so, that was really cool. And that was the day I found another pond that has been, kind of sacred to us as well. For other reasons,
Yeah.
which we won't go into now. But that was basically one of my first memorial hunts with you, where I can specifically remember it. I still got pictures of it, of Talon out there, and that was the first time I really remember you hunting with me.
We'd hunted before. Remember, we hunted at Mendota on that day. It was so hot. The opener, it was like 90, 95 degrees on opening day.
That's right. I do remember that one. That was when it was you, myself, Josh Webster,
And his dad.
and his dad Dean. We'd went out there, and I think that Josh and I had went out there on the Thursday before the opener. Was that it?
I think so.
Ooh.
And I don't know if that's when I lost the keys. I don't remember. I've lost keys. I've lost all kinds of stuff. But anyways, we got out there, and it was probably 90 plus out there. Hot, miserable, pouring down sweat. And we had neoprene stocking foot waders at the time.
I remember this.
Right. And we shot some birds. It was so hot that Josh's dad actually laid down in the pond to cool off. And then on the way back, the mosquitoes were so bad. Back then, we didn't have carts. We were carrying the decoys on our backs.
Yeah.
And I was carrying the decoys. And trying to carry the decoys and swat mosquitoes at the same time. It was miserable. Let me tell you. I looked like I had the measles when I got back to the truck.
Yeah, we've had some crazy experiences, and one we may have mentioned before too. You're right, because it was I do remember another hunt now, and it was myself, Josh, and you, and we'd got out there, and I think that was the time that I lost the keys.
It was.
I had lost the keys, which I get on to Talon all the time because Talon has a tendency to lose things, but I was the same way when I was younger. I've gotten better, much better. I would say I've
Just
improved
better.
by at least 90%.
Oh wow! I don't know about that.
But anyways, we get out there and we go through, and some guy's like, "Yeah, we'll give you a ride out to the pond." So we're like, "Okay." So I think we were right in their back of their truck or something at first, and then we're like, "I thought we were at the right place," and we weren't. And some other guys were driving by, and they had a camper on the back of their truck, and then they had one of those little cargo racks that you could put stuff on. And I know I've told this story before, but they're like, "Yeah, we'll give you a ride. Hop on the back on this cargo thing." And we got our decoy strung on our back. It's me, my dad. I'm on the outside. I think you were maybe in the middle, and Josh was on the outside. And the only thing we had to hang on to, besides staying on this little cart thing, was the little knobs that you open up the back of the camper with. And these guys took off, and I think they thought they were in the Oklahoma land rush. They were flying down the roads. I think the speed limit was like 15. They were probably going 45. Dust, bumping. I thought we were gone. At any moment, I knew one of us was going to fall off. We were locked arms. We're hanging on these knobs, and these jokers are jamming. And finally, I don't know if we were to the area or not, but I'm like, we were hollering at them, stop. They didn't even hear us. They were just still driving. Finally, they stopped after about, I don't know how many miles we went, but it was crazy. And we got off and we hunted that day, and then my lovely wife brought us the keys, and I think
I still can't believe that.
she wanted to crucify me, and I don't blame her one bit. I have an awesome wife, and most of them would be like, we could walk home, and I wouldn't blame her because Mendota was like, I don't know, what, hour and a half from where we live?
An hour and a half.
Is it that long?
I think.
Man.
It's pretty far.
I know it's at least an hour.
It's at least an hour.
Yeah.
And she drove out there, brought us the keys, and went back home. She wasn't happy. I don't blame her. And we're still married, which is a testament to my good looks, and because it ain't my charm. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I do remember that hunt, and that was something that will be etched in my mind until forever.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, that was
my fingernail prints are probably still on the back of that.
That's the thing is you guys always talk about that how there was nothing really to like.
there was
No.
nothing. There was literally the knobs that you open up.
It's
the back
like
of the
holding
camper.
on to a steel wall, right? Where there's nothing
Yeah.
you can you
Yeah.
can't even get a fingernail.
Yeah, it was. It was like you basically feel like you were on the edge of Half Dome and a little finger crack, and
Oh
if you fell
my
off,
goodness,
you're
my
gone.
goodness.
That's how
I've
we
had
felt.
that feeling before. That is not a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that the end is near, and
Yeah, and you're thinking, okay, when I do fall off, how am I gonna roll? You know,
Right.
like you're at
Yeah.
that. You know, you're gonna fall off. Like some way it's gonna happen.
yeah, I don't know,
That's not a good feeling.
but yeah, we've had a lot of fun experiences.
What about that picture? It's you, Tommy, and your dad out there with all those widgeon piled up on that dog stand or something. What?
Yeah, I don't remember. I do remember that pond because we had this one pond that we found. We had hunted the front of the pond, and I kept noticing birds dropping back behind us. There was a huge row of tules that's kind of separated this pond, and I kept seeing birds drop back there. I'm like, we got to go back there. I think it was afternoon the first time that we went back there,
Right.
and it was epic. I mean, the first time we hunted it, I mean, the widgeon just wanted that hole, and we called it the widgeon hole because they would just drop in there. We killed pintails, we killed blue wings. I killed that leucistic green wing out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But that day that we went out there, I don't remember who was with us. I remember somebody had to take the picture, so somebody else was with us that took that
That's
picture.
where you killed that leucistic green?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Same pond.
Yeah. I don't know who took that picture, but somebody was with us. But we killed like 30-something birds that day and like 15 widgeon, which is...
Right.
Not-
I know it was me and you and Colton for sure. And Talon was there as well.
But they weren't in the picture?
Mm-mm. It was the picture I'm talking about was just Tom,
was me, you,
and Travis.
Yeah, us
really?
three.
Mhm.
Huh.
And somebody took that picture, and we had a whole... There was a dog stand. So we had to have Colton's dog Roxy with us, and we had a pile full of pretty much every kind of bird you could imagine except for mallards. But
Right.
Yeah, that 1 year. What year was that? 2012. Oh, was that long ago? Good gracious.
Yes.
That pond produced pretty much the whole season for us.
Right.
And yeah, we had some great days out there. And that was probably one of our better duck seasons, I think, overall.
I've kept record for the most part over the last, since 2012. I think I started then, and that is the best season so far as the number of ducks overall.
Mm-hmm. And the quality of birds,
and
I would say, too.
Birds, that we've shot.
That we took.
I'm trying to remember what the weather was like then. Was it
It was overcast. It was cloudy. I remember in that picture it was cloudy.
Well, no,
overcast.
I just remember that season. Was it more of a wet season, a cold season?
It was more wet.
It was just a wet season.
Wet and cold. We actually broke ice on that
Really?
pond.
Oh, wow.
One morning.
But I remember specifically that day I shot that leucistic. We were out there, my dad, I think you were right next to me.
Yes.
I'm sitting there, and we'd hunted, and we shot a lot of birds. And I'm looking straight towards the back of this pond because the pond didn't have a lot of tules in it, really. It was pretty much a sheetwater pond, except right that one area. And looking back, I seen this bird coming, and it was probably about 4 foot off the water. And immediately I'm thinking, that's a shorebird. It was whitish color, and it's coming straight at me. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking in my mind, that's a teal. I'm like, no, that's a shorebird. And this bird banks, and I just scream. I mean, albino! Boom! I shoot. I miss. I don't even know if you even shot.
I thought it was a shorebird at first. It looked like a duck flying, and I thought, no, that can't be a duck because it's white.
Uh-huh.
And it
banked from left to right.
Because I could have shot at it.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't think it was a duck.
Yeah.
And then Travis screamed.
I shot I screamed albino.
Albino, and then
I think I scared him when I screamed so loud. But I shot, I missed, and the thing was like, a fast teal are. It was jamming. I mean, I tailpiped it, and any further I would have missed it. And we had Colton's dog Roxy with us, and I beat the dog to the bird. And I didn't want that bird in the dog's mouth, and I picked it up, and I knew I had shot something I'd probably never shoot again. It was a leucistic can green wing. And I've never seen a bird like that again.
And you got
in
an
person.
incredible mount on that bird too.
My buddy Eugene Stricksha from Wildfowl Unlimited Taxidermy. If you haven't seen his stuff, go to his Facebook page, or he has a wildfowl .us, I think, or US. And check out his work. Phenomenal taxidermist. Just bad at the bone.
Nice guy too.
Yeah, he mounted that bird for me and did a great job. And I've never seen another bird like that until about 2 weeks ago. I told you that.
Yeah,
you were out there
seen
too.
Him. Yeah, we both seen him.
So
and I was like, "What?" But you confirmed it was a mallard.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What is?" Me and Harrison were like, "What is that?"
Yeah, it was crazy. We were sitting there, and I kept hearing
that's
this.
a duck.
We kept hearing this.
That was an albino.
Yeah, we kept hearing this duck quack. I mean, a bird quack.
So
I kept looking in that direction because I'm thinking, Taylor, like, this thing's gonna pop out at any time. But it wasn't that bird that was quacking. It was another bird.
Okay.
So I was looking that direction. And all of a sudden, I seen this bird jump, and I've always had great eyesight, like you talked about, for distances. Up close, my vision's going, but far away, I can see great. As soon as the bird jumped, I seen that it was pure white, and I'm thinking, what's pure white? What's a pure white duck? Aflac, right? But it jumped, and it kind of went straight away, and then it broke back kind of towards you and Harrison. And I got on the call because I'm like, if we can turn this bird. I told Taylor, and she was sitting right next to me. She's like, I don't care how high this bird is. I'm taking a shot at this joker. But he took off and went across towards you guys kind of, and I seen it. I mean, it was white as a snow goose.
Right.
And it was a mallard because I seen him when he jump. I knew what a mallard looks like. It wasn't a huge Aflac duck. It didn't fly slow. It flew like a mallard. I've seen photos of him. That thing was pure white.
Wow.
Pure white. I mean, white as you can get. It wasn't leucistic. It wasn't a blonde mallard. It was a white mallard. But that was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah,
but
that was cool to see.
Yeah,
that's the first time I've ever seen like something like that. So.
Yeah, but my dad, he's carried decoys on his back. He's trudged through.
Oh, I've trudged through some stuff.
Some bad juju ponds. But going back to that, he's always followed me to every pond. We've set up on ponds. I'm like, hey, let's move to this pond, and. Usually it's the
Let me ask him this.
Dad dragging kids. I'm dragging my dad.
We got to get him telling the truth of all the stories here. Travis is trying to fill in for you so you can't tell the truth here.
I followed Travis through stuff. I thought, what in the world is this kid doing? I mean, he's got to be insane. Through tules over our heads. I mean, we walked for hundreds of yards through tules, and just walking through tules.
Have you ever been frustrated?
I have been very frustrated.
That's where I was trying to go with this.
Yeah, I've seen the look before, you know.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
And we get out there, and I thought, you know what? We're going to have to walk back.
Yeah, we got to come back to this.
Right. And Travis is notorious for moving.
Mm-hmm.
He'll move decoys 3 or 4 times during a setup.
There's a reason.
And I've wondered why sometimes there's not a bird in the sky and he's out there moving decoys. And then we've moved. He'll see a mallard drop in 150 yards away. One mallard. Dad, we need to move. That's where the birds want to be.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But overall, it's more times than not, he's been right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Well, talking about moving the decoys, I'll give an example. Last weekend, we were hunting, and these birds, they kept coming short. You know what I'm saying? They would stop short, and they would bank and go away. And we shot quite a few birds, and I'm like, I need to move the decoys. And of course, Talon, he's like, you don't need to move the decoys. We only need 5 more birds, or
it's funny because
6 more birds.
It's funny because if I'm not there, or if I'm there, he don't say that because I'm already yelling at you. But if I'm not there, then he's yelling at you.
Yeah. So I took the birds and I moved them back about 50 yards from where I was at. It made all the difference in the world. The birds, instead of short changing us, they were coming to where we were at, and then they were banking, and we got birds. So I think sometimes just a little change can make a big difference,
And I think I used to always flip out about that too, but it's like, now I do the same thing because it does matter. If someone's like, "Oh no, that's not why," I'm like, "Dude, there's a reason.
There's a reason they're not coming all the way to me.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
there's a reason they're going this way, and when I want them to go this way,
Yeah,
like,
when they lock their wings and they're coming, and then all of a sudden they break that lock and they
not right.
veer, something's not right. I don't know what it is, but I'm thinking decoys first because I'm hiding.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, but I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed every time I've got to hunt with my dad, and it's been fun. It's something we've shared together, and have memories, photos that that'll last my lifetime, and got them with my kids that'll last their lifetime.
Right. The other day I told Travis I was watching freelance duck hunting, and Elliot mentioned that his dad was 77 years old. And I told Travis, I hope when I'm 77 I can still be out there doing that. And he said, you better be.
You don't have a choice.
I don't have a choice.
We'll pull you out on the sled.
We'll get a big sled.
I got the extra large sled now, so you can just sit in that thing and we'll just drag you out there.
Yeah. And that's great. I want to do this as long as I'm able because it's a blast. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. There's so many things, not to just get all deep about it, but we say this all the time. We want to kill birds. That's why we go out there. But it's not what... If you just walk straight out there, shot 7 birds in a row, and left there, it'd be like, that was kind of empty and hollow.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's the journey and the tough times that actually make the great stories. I know we say this all the time. You guys probably get tired of hearing it, but it's like someone falling in the water or somebody moving the decoys 10 times. That's the stuff that you talk more about than, man, I just shot that 5 all Drake limit right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. There's very few. There's
the
some
birds are the cherry on top.
Yeah. I mean, but there's birds that I remember specifically shooting that bird.
Yeah.
But I also remember who I was with and where we were at and what was going on in that situation. And yeah. I mean, my dad, we went on junior hunts. You've been on junior hunts, right? With Colton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and we're chasing birds across the pond, we've taken other people that haven't went back again. And I remember one specifically, my dad was there and he was behind a guy and he's like, shoot. And the birds are right there. It was a junior hunt. My dad couldn't shoot and the birds were right there and like he wouldn't shoot or missed them, and so my dad got to experience what I've the frustration, of like the birds are right there. How can you mess them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So stuff like that's been a blast,
Right. And Travis has got frustrated with me because as I got older, my reaction time is not as good as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, the bird was right in your face. Right in your face. How come you didn't shoot? I didn't see it. You didn't see that bird. How come you didn't
How do you not see it?
I'm not frustrated at him. I mean, he's mistaken. I'm not frustrated at him. I'm frustrated that there was an opportunity there that he wasn't able to capitalize on it for his enjoyment. Not because I'm mad because he didn't get the bird.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm like, oh, you could have got him. You know what I'm saying? It's like that opportunity, I mean, he didn't see it in time or whatever, And so, and I'm bad about it. You've hunted with me, Titus. I'm birds are quarter mile away, and I'm like, they're coming. My dad's heard they're coming so many times, and
oh my goodness.
they don't always materialize, but sometimes it does work. And so, I try to get him ready before, they even show up. So he's got the best opportunity to get a shot.
The last hunt I went on, he told me there was a bird coming, so I was ready. I saw the bird coming, and I missed. And Travis shot it.
He let you know.
Yeah.
Remember that hunt that I think it was a couple years ago? It was me, you, and Talon, where we waited till like 2:55,
Right.
and the blind comes out, and we're just racing in there. It was howling wind, and we ended up doing okay for only hunting for 2 hours.
Right. Yeah.
That was a windy dog right there.
That was.
Yeah, and you dropped that mallard. Oh, actually, let me go back several years ago. I think this is 5 years ago. Remember, we were in the local area, and we shot all those teal. Me, you, and Talon again.
Right, yeah.
And then we shot those cinnamon. That whole group of cinnamon go by, and I was the only one that knocked one down. It was a huge group too. Did you even get a shot off in that?
I don't remember, but I remember the hunt.
It's all cinnamons.
Yeah.
That was a fun day.
Right.
Yeah. And that. So he's you're not my dad. You're not a relative. You're nothing. But he has been one of my best friend's dads for years, and I feel like family with you.
Right.
And because we've went to church all our lives together since I was a kid. I mean, they've obviously been longer. And so it's not your typical, I was just a friend or an acquaintance. It's a lot deeper than that.
No, it's family.
It's family.
Yeah,
it really
right.
is.
It is.
It's family with no blood associated yet.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, literally. And so it's like, I treasure those moments about as much as you can not being related. You're a son. Obviously, I can't be at that level. Just like, when me and my dad's elk hunts and stuff like that, I treasure those moments. But like these duck hunts going with your dad, it's like, man, I'm glad I got that on video. I'm glad I got to have that memory. I'm glad, I got to be there and do that. It's just, it's like no matter who you're with, you feel that way,
Yeah.
You're just like, man, that was me and Colton this last weekend went hunted. We haven't really hunted together in a long time. We used to hunt together a lot when he was younger, and then he got older and just school, college, other friends, stuff like that. and we were I really enjoyed that time, like it's good memories you just always have. That's why I was so sick when I thought I lost all that footage.
And what's cool too, I mean, like with, what I'm saying, like with you, like, what I'm saying, when you were younger, I took you hunting, but then it's been reciprocated back because Talon, what I'm saying, I take Talon all the time, but there was times when you were able to go, I wasn't able to go, and you took Talon, so you've got this. So you've got to hunt with my dad, me, and Talon. You know what I'm saying? So like 3 generations. I'm sure someday when Talon has kids, you're probably going to hunt with his kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's really cool to me.
It is.
To be able to share that experiences with good friends that are like family. And, just to be able to share what we've shared as far as, not only, duck hunting, but just in life, and
well, dude, the thing is,
faced.
Talking about the journey, that makes the story better, right? We've went through some really hard times together.
Yeah.
We've went through deaths together.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
We've went through good times. We went through job losses. We've went through emotional, just physical issues, like however it is. So we went through so many things together.
Yeah.
That's why, like you said, where it's not just friends that are like family. It is family.
It's family.
Yeah.
Because you're bearing it, man. You're bearing each other's loads. You're going under stuff together. Because it hurts you just as bad. And you, like you said, there's no blood there.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what's cool. And
that's what brings you in that deeper level of friendship, you know.
And so that's what makes the good times even
Plus,
better.
our relationship with the Lord,
Yeah.
we're brothers and sisters in the Lord.
Yeah.
So it is family. It truly is actual
it's
family,
family.
you know,
Yeah.
on the spiritual side of it. So kind of something off topic, a little bit of duck hunting, but how long have you been teaching adult Sunday school? I ask you that all the time, and I always forget.
Let's see. I'm 70 years old. I started teaching when I was 28.
Wow.
So that's 42 years.
Man.
I've taught the adult Sunday school class.
That's some...
For a time, it was just men, and then...
Oh, really?
Just the men's adult Sunday school class. And then for several years now, it's been the mixed class.
You've had to see some serious changes in 42 years.
I have. I've seen some young men grow up to be awesome ministers. You for one, and some of the others. I've seen some disappointments along the way with young men that had potential that didn't follow through. I've seen family members who really had a dedicated life who no longer lived that life. And then I've seen others come to the Lord in those years. And it's all the years, and it's been worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I've been a help to people in those years. I've tried to be. I've tried to go by the Lord's leading in what I teach, and I'm blessed. I'm just truly blessed.
Mm. Yeah, and I feel the same way we are too, to have someone like you. Obviously, until I wasn't in the adult class, you know, then that's when you were my teacher. But a lot of wisdom there from your dad, you know, and consistency and faithfulness, and that's the stuff that sticks out to my mind. Because you've been teaching class longer than I've been alive, and to see that dedication, and that's the thing is, people think that Christians can't have fun, Christians can't have a good time because we don't go do this, we don't go do that, we don't party, we don't drink, we don't do none of that stuff. I want to tell you something. I can say I feel like I've had more fun in my life than anyone ever should deserve to have, and that's never been involved.
Yeah, neither. My life's been a blast. I mean, the only thing I miss is, you know, myself teaching Sunday school for the past, I don't know how many it's been. It's been a while
too, yeah.
8-9 years.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to hear my dad teach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, because we attend the same church, and so that's, you know what I'm saying. It's like I miss that,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah,
I never thought about that.
yeah, but you know, just to hear his wisdom, and
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate my dad. I appreciate the life that he's led. Has my dad lived a perfect life? No, but he's lived a consistent life, and there's something to say for consistency.
Oh,
he hasn't changed. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing I can, you know, specifically put a finger on. It's like, hey, my dad messed up here, you know, and that's a challenge to me as a person to raise my family. You know, one thing he's always said is like, I think it was him. He says, I don't want to be the weak link in the chain.
Right.
And, you know, a chain's only as strong as its weakest link.
Right.
And so that's something that I want to pass on to Talon, and, you know, hopefully he'll pass on to his family. Don't be the weak link in the chain, you know. Stay strong. Stay true to what you know is the truth. Don't veer from it. But yeah, I've been blessed to have my dad as my dad. You know, I wouldn't trade him for anybody else, you know. I've never looked at somebody else like with Emmy like, hey, I wish he was my dad instead of the dad that I have. Because I mean, we have a bond and a friendship, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, I growing up, my dad and I were close, but we weren't friends per se. I mean, real close friends. And in my mind as a teenager, I told myself if I ever have a son, I want my son to be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I can truly say that Travis is my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate Travis because he's taught me some things in life. A situation happened when his firstborn came into the world with a disability, and I questioned. In fact, I even questioned God. Why? And Travis said, "Dad, God doesn't make mistakes."
Mm-hmm.
And that's always stuck with me. God doesn't make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a plan for everything. And when you look at the big picture, you just have to say we serve an awesome God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about, we've never talked about that on podcast or in videos or anything, but talk about what Trent and kind of what he's referring to, just that situation.
Yeah, so I was, I believe, 26.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah, no. And my wife, I think, was 21 or 20. I'm horrible with dates. Tamara, please forgive me. But our firstborn Trent, she was expecting. I'd gotten through hygiene school, and we were moved to Las Vegas, just her and I. She was expecting, and we came home for the weekend, and she went into labor. And our firstborn Trent was born, and when he was born, he was really purple, and I was like, I thought he looked like my father-in-law, Richard. You know what I'm saying? Just tons of hair, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did you guys know yet?
No.
You didn't know until
no,
he was
huh?
born?
No, huh? And so they immediately they took him out. I mean, they took him out immediately, and it was just my wife and I in there. And this lady walked in. I'd never seen her before, never seen her since. And she goes, "Your son has Downs," and she goes, "He has a large hole in his heart. And he's probably not going to make it." That's the first word she said to us.
That's it.
That's what she said.
Wow.
I mean, that straight up, like, hey, sit down here. I need to tell you something. This is going on. Just like that.
Wow.
And we're like shocked. And then like, she wasn't there very long. And everything became a blur.
Mm-hmm. She
left. And so then I'm trying to get the story straight. But, like, I don't even think my wife really comprehended what Down syndrome was at the time, or it was such a shock. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
We didn't expect our firstborn, she's young, I'm young, that our first child would have Down syndrome and that he would have a large hole in his heart, So, I remember a bunch of people from, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember going out and I remember sitting on the curb out there and I prayed, you don't have a child that suffers, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, God, if he's not going to live a healthy life, I would rather you take him now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want him to suffer. Mm-hmm. And I remember and then they were going to rush him to Modesto Hospital. We were at Turlock and Emmanuel, and about 50, 60 people from our church came in. And at first they wouldn't even let me see him. They wouldn't let me see him or anything, Trent. And then all of a sudden, like, everybody could come in. And I honestly think they thought he wasn't going to make it. They were going to take him to Modesto. They wouldn't let me ride in the ambulance. Tamara just had him. She's in the hospital. And I remember all these people from our church came in, and they all prayed. And they left, and they took him to Modesto. And then Tamara and I went up there, and I walked in, and I'm like, "How's he doing?" I asked the doctor, I go, "How's he doing?" He's like, "He's doing good." And I'm like, "Can we see him?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, well, how's his heart? I go, "They told me he had a large hole in his heart and he probably wasn't going to make it." And he says, there's no hole in his heart. His heart's perfectly fine.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, and I knew immediately right then that God had a hand in it and that God had healed him. Mm-hmm. And I knew God doesn't make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? The Bible says that we're created in his image, and he knew us before we were even born. Before we were conceived in our mother's womb, he knew who we were. And I believe everybody has a specific plan and a purpose for their life. And I knew that God had a purpose and a plan for Trent's life. And he's been a blessing. And he's healthy. Right. He doesn't want to go duck hunting.
He's a little too healthy right now.
He's put on some weight. But I ask him all the time, I go, "Trent, you want to go hunting?" He goes, No, thank you. No, thank you.
You guys got to know Trent.
Yeah, we took him out to the pond one time, and I left something out there.
You did?
Yeah, no, I took him out there.
I didn't know that.
And we were in the parking lot or something. And I'm like, "Trent, you want to go out there?" He's like, No. Yeah. Ever since then, every time I ask him if he goes hunting, he goes, No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, he does not want to go duck hunting.
How old is Trent now? 22?
21.
21?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's Trent's, we don't think nothing, no one that's around Trent that's been around since he's been born thinks anything different.
Yeah.
Just Trent. Like
Yeah.
he likes to eat. He likes you to get everything for him so he don't have to.
Yeah, he likes to sing. He drove the
loves singing.
neighbors nuts.
Yeah.
Singing really loud
Swinging
in the
in
backyard,
the-
swinging. Yeah.
in the chair.
Well, I've been working from home lately, and where our bedrooms that I can look out and see the porch swing, and this thing is designed just to sit on it and and gently rock. He's literally got this thing going to the max. I've already placed the bolts once. He's worked through them. The swing broke, fell down. He was on it, and I'm thinking at any moment that thing's gonna break and he's gonna go flying across the yard. In this porch swing, and I tell him, Trent, quit swinging so high, and he'll stop for a little bit, but it's not 10, 20 minutes. He's out there swinging as high as he can possibly swing, and it's weird. He doesn't get dizzy. I have a desk chair, and he'll sit in that thing and spin literally, if I let him, for hours, just spinning as fast as he can go in that thing, and he gets up and walks away like nothing. Doesn't get dizzy. I don't know how he does it.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But he's been a blessing to our lives. I sometimes it's gotten easier over time, but it's hard. Like I'm saying, it's like, okay, he's never gonna go duck hunt with me. He's never gonna shoot a duck or whatever. But that's okay. There's other things that I do with him, and we have fun. And he's my buddy. And but yeah. I mean, he's been a blessing, and
he's been a blessing to all of us.
All of us.
Yeah.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap this podcast up. Thanks for coming out.
Good to be here.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you'll have to come on again soon. I'm sure we'll do some hunt reviews where we've hunted together for this season. So you guys stay tuned. Guys, thank you so much for your support again. Keep downloading the episodes. We'll keep them rolling out. I know this one was a day late. Usually do Monday and Thursday, so this one will release you'll be listening to this on Tuesday, and we got a bunch more coming out. We got big plans coming up. Cannot wait to share them with you guys on the YouTube channel, Mid-Valley Mercenaries, and then the hunt reviews on the podcast. So stay tuned, guys. We got lots coming up. We'll see you on the next one.